So the purpose of this video is to demonstrate some quick tips on data management for survey. Often we get survey from a number of sources and a number of revisions, and I just wanted to demonstrate some of the ways I manage it in 12D model. So I'm going to first bring in my XYZ file for the survey. OJ ladder 2.5 serve OG ladder comma delimited. I'm now going to bring in the DWG for the rail survey. So data input DWG browse serve DTM. When 12D brings a DWG file into 12D, it basically it still keeps the layer names, and it basically puts under the name, so layer into name, but it also creates individual models for individual layers. And I'm just going to minimize the amount of models in my project, so I'm just going to move all of the models on this screen into one fully contained file. I'm then going to delete all the models that have no layers, and there's 48 in there. I'm actually going to delete everything inside this rectangle because it's from the surveyor. I don't actually want to triangulate it, so I'm just going to pick that model again, and everything outside this rectangle I'm going to delete. And I'm also going to delete that rectangle as well. And now it's ready. So this data is actually from a Civil 3D project. So it's basically it's not very clean, but I'm just going to remove some of this data that I don't want to tin. And you can do it before or after the tin, doesn't really matter. But you've created the tin, but I'm just going to do it now. And basically I'm going to pick all these zeros, and I'm not going to delete it. I'm just going to move them into a non-tin model, and I'll if I need it, I can get it. I can just turn it back on. But I'm also going to remove. Oh, I think that's everything. There's also this surface boundary, and I'll just move that into BDY. I'll use that later. So this rail project is a brownfields project. I'm basically building a track duplication next to the main line, and I've got two bits of survey data for this project. One's a field pickup from a surveyor, and the second one's a LiDAR pass. And I'm going to use this one here, DTM points. I'm going to hit triangulate, turn the tin on, and I'm basically going to null by that polygon boundary that we got given by the surveyor. Oh, doesn't work. So there's something intersecting in that boundary, something corrupt about it, so I'm just going to clear that off, and I'm going to instead just null by a length of say 20 meters, and it's pretty similar, 30 to the boundary that they give me, 40, let's go 50. So because that boundary string is intersecting, I mean there is ways of fixing it, but for this demonstration I'm just going to create a new boundary, and I'm going to select the surface that I've just created, and I'm going to put it under BDY. And this is a helpful hint. If you put a comma and the view number, it basically will turn on automatically. So I don't want all of those boundary strings in there, so I'm just going to quickly rename that to we'll supersede that model, and we'll create a new one. Now, get rid of the SS. I've actually got two sets of data: LiDAR data, which basically covers some of the project and some of the survey pickup. And what you can do with two sets of data, you can create two tins and create a super tin, which basically will create one combined surface. So I'll quickly show you that method. So when I turn on the LiDAR, basically we want to mainly use the survey field pickup, but we sort of want to use the LiDAR data for areas where our batters might intersect. And so I'll just create a super tin. So we go down to super tin, and we want to pick the model that we want to be replaced at the bottom. So I'll put in the LiDAR first, and I'll pick the DTM. I'm going to create EG supertin. And now when I show the supertin, it's created a combined surface. So I'll show you that in perspective view. So I turn on my supertin, and you can see it's one combined surface. So I mean, the problem with there's nothing wrong with supertins, but sometimes I find it's good to merge survey data sets together and create just a basic tin as well. Mainly because sometimes we get new revisions of survey, and we might want to remove old parts and replace that with new survey. So I'm just going to show you that technique as well. Super tins could also be confusing when you've got lots of tins and you're sort of adding tins together, and it sometimes gets confusing. So for this instance, I'm going to clip out my LiDAR data, and basically I'm going to remove all the stuff within that boundary that I created. And to do that, you just go to Utilities, Fence, and I'm going to pick that model, and I'm going to pick the boundary, and I'm going to create a new model for the stuff that's outside. So I'm going to go outside, hit fence, and we'll see if it works. So now instead of creating a super tin, I'll create a new combined existing surface using the separated models. So pick the view 550. So there's my survey. I'll turn on the contours, turn on off the triangles. I'll turn off all the points now. I'll turn off that boundary string. I'll change the colors so it make it a little bit easier for myself. I'll change the interval to say 0.1. And there's my tin ready to go. So if you ever need access to the layer names that the surveyor might have provided in a DWG format, so I'm just going to turn it on. So in here, for example, we've got rail lines, and those rail lines are actually being tinned, and I don't actually want them to be a part of my tin. Then to find out quickly what layers are in there, you just go to this model string info table, and if you click on that model, it'll basically list all of the layer names, and basically from here you can sort of remove by name if you wanted to. Or so I'll show you what I mean. If I was to turn on the triangles, you'll see that it's tinning the top of rail lines, and I don't actually want it to. So I'll just move those models out using this filter command, and it's a pretty useful tool. So I pick the model first, I then go to string info, and I pick the layer name, and I'm just going to move that into a separate model called rail, and I'm going to do the same for this one here. I'm then going to retin it, and now it's not tinning to those top of rail lines.